to dispute the claims made by a former White House aide to the January 6th committee. Cassidy Hutchinson, who worked for former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, testified that President Trump insisted on leading the mob to the Capitol. And ABC's Jay O'Brien says that is where he assumed they were headed when he got into the presidential limo that day.
But Hutchinson testified that she heard a second-hand account of how Trump became irate when his lead Secret Service agent, Robert Engel, refused to take him to the Capitol. Sources say the Secret Service agents involved are willing to respond under oath and plan to say there was no physical altercation in the vehicle.
Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani also said to have wanted presidential pardons. Giuliani denies that. Mark Meadows has not commented on it. New details emerging about the people found in that sweltering semi-truck found on a road in a remote part of San Antonio, Texas. The death toll among those being smuggled into the U.S. now stands at 51. ABC's Matt Gutman has been on the scene.
They died from being in a locked compartment, an 18-wheeler semi-trailer in the back with no air conditioning and no food and no water. It was 103 degrees in San Antonio. There was no air in there, and so they watched each other die over a period of hours. And at some point, the driver abandoned the vehicle. An eyewitness saw him leave the vehicle, wondered what that was all about. They got to the vehicle. Obviously, they saw what was inside and then called for help.
President Biden in Madrid, or NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said minutes ago,
"We will demonstrate that NATO's door remains open by inviting Finland and Sweden to join our alliance."
The president says the U.S. will enhance its presence in Europe. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi meeting with Pope Francis today, receiving communion during a papal mass despite her strong support of abortion rights. This is ABC News.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services. If you will block, Chris Hill Mass, admitted in Massachusetts only. While this firm maintains joint responsibility, most cases of this type are referred to other attorneys for principal responsibility. Members, Paul J. Morgan, Winter Park, Florida. Nick Meiswander, Florence, Kentucky. Rich Guerrero, 970 Farmington Avenue, West Hartford, Connecticut. 860-904-7789. Michael Bo Gonzalez, admitted Louisiana. Filing number LA-22-13614. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other attorneys. I am a paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention U.S. Marines. Veterans were exposed to toxic chemicals in the drinking water on Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Exposure to these chemicals increased the risk for cancer, birth defects, and other serious health problems. If you or a loved one were exposed to contaminated water on Camp Lejeune, you may be entitled to compensation. A new law gives legal rights to those harmed. It is not too late to take action. Call Sakharov Law now for a free legal consultation at 1-800-397-8100. 1-800-397-8100. 1-800-397-8100.
Another primary day done in several states. The sound from Illinois.
We will not go back! We will not go back!
Governor J.B. Pritzker winning the Democratic nod in his re-election bid, facing conservative State Senator Darren Bailey. In New York, the governor's race will pit incumbent Kathy Hochul against Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin. He beat Andrew Giuliani, son of former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, on primary day. A fourth person has now died after Monday's collision between an Amtrak train and a dump truck in Missouri. Federal investigators are investigating. In Paris, the trial rising out of the 2015 terror attacks that targeted places like the Bataclan Theater and several cafes is drawn to a close. 130 people were killed. Salah Abdel-Salam faces life in prison without parole. And experts are now saying there's something you need to be doing for about 8 hours a day if you really want to help your heart.
If you want to improve your heart health, you need to get that sleep. The American Heart Association is adding sleep as another factor to consider for optimizing heart health in children and adults. They previously tracked the Simple 7: diet, physical activity, nicotine exposure, BMI, cholesterol, blood glucose, and blood pressure, but it'll now be called the Essential 8 to include sleep. They say the fewer metrics met, the lower your cardiovascular health score, and the more likely you are to experience cardiovascular disease and stroke. Lionel Moyes, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Get off the endless debt treadmill and start saving money each month. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Call Total Financial now at 800-208-1312. 800-208-1312.
It's the time of year to come to NC Tractor for the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors and Bobcat zero-turn mowers. NC Tractor gives fantastic customer service, the best discounts possible, and it's a locally owned business. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue is helping to make outdoor work more enjoyable. Shouldn't you have something that you can be proud of for a long time? Massey Ferguson and Bobcat zero-turn mowers. Come look them over. 299 Railroad Avenue, Rutherfordton. That phone number is 288-0395. It's looking pretty good right now.
We have a stationary boundary that's to the south. That's going to aid some showers and perhaps a few thunderstorms early and this afternoon. We will also see gradual clearing as we head into this evening. Look for highs in the low to mid-80s today. By tonight, we're down into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We do have mostly dry conditions on tap for tomorrow with a lot of cloud cover. Highs will reach the upper 80s and the lower 90s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Peter. We're waking up at 69 degrees here in Rutherfordton area. 69 degrees, warming up to about 84 with a 30% chance of some shower activities later today. Right now, it's a great getting up morning here in the foothills on this Wednesday, the 29th day of June 29th, 2022. The Call Around News Report coming up here in just a few moments. Right now, I have these death announcements. Kenneth Wayne, Lil Wayne Melton Jr., 49 of Ellenboro, died Tuesday at Adrium Health in Cleveland. Arrangements are incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service for Kenneth Wayne, Lil Wayne Melton Jr. Jamie Van Horn Scarborough, 70, of Forest City, passed away June 27th at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. The service to celebrate Jamie's life will be conducted at 2 o'clock Friday, July 1st at Mount Vernon Baptist Church. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. The family will receive friends from 12:45 until 1:45 p.m. Friday at the church prior to the service, and at other times the family will be at the Sears residence in Ellenboro. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service is in charge of the arrangements for Jamie Van Horn Scarborough. William Rufus McGowan Billy passed away on June 26th at the age of 70. There will be a celebration of Billy's life at the First United Methodist Church of Rutherfordton Friday, July 1st at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Following the ceremony, there will be gathering in the Memorial Garden to spread his ashes. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Billy McGowan. William F.P. Cox III died June 26th at his home in Ellenboro. A funeral will be held at St. Francis Episcopal Church in Rutherfordton on Sunday, July 3rd at 4 p.m. The family will be pleased to see friends and family at a reception at the Cathedral of All Souls in Asheville from 4:30 until 6:30 on Saturday, July 3rd. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of William F.P. Cox III. William Bill Campbell Sr., age 88 of Forest City, passed away Sunday, June 26th at Willow Ridge Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. The funeral service will be conducted at 2 o'clock today at the Harrelson Funeral Chapel. Burial will follow in Mount Pleasant Baptist Church Cemetery in Forest City. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with the arrangements for William Bill Campbell Sr. Jerry Lewis Hopper, 68, passed away Thursday at his home. Funeral services will be held from 6 until 8 at Rutherford Chapel, 124 Fairhope Street, Forest City, today. And arrangements entrusted to Robert Morgan Funeral and Cremation Services of Boiling Springs for Jerry Lewis Hopper. William Rufus McGowan died Sunday, June 26th at age 70. The obituary is incomplete at this time, and the service will be held on Friday, July 1st at 2 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church in Rutherfordton. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of William Rufus McGowan. Paulette Cash Littlejohn of Ellenboro died June the 11th. A celebration of life will be held 2 p.m. Saturday, July 2nd at Crow's Funeral Chapel for Paulette Cash Littlejohn of Ellenboro. Those are the death announcements we have this morning in-house. For the complete information on these and others as they become available to us, be sure to tune in this morning at 11:35 and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon Call Around the County newscast. It's almost 10 after 7 and time for the Bill O'Reilly Morning Update, heard each morning Monday through Friday right here on WCAB.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, many timeshare owners are very upset because their yearly dues have nearly doubled. Well, Lone Star will guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. With their A-plus rating at the Better Business Bureau, clients know that Lone Star Transfer is a company you can trust. For a free consultation, please go to LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. On this Wednesday, watching the dissent over the court rulings on abortion and handgun carry laws, two things are clear. First, the fanatical left does not respect the democratic system the founders set up. And second, if they could, the progressives would support a totalitarian federal government as long as leftists held power. On the right, there is deep disenchantment over liberal policies. That's obvious. But when Roe v. Wade was imposed in 1973 by the Supreme Court, conservatives did not rampage or threaten the court. Yes, there were a few violent loons who damaged abortion clinics, but nothing like we are seeing now from the far left. It's important to understand two things. One, that some progressives will try to actually hurt you if you believe opposite from them. And second, some very powerful media people and corporate people will harm those with whom they disagree. Hollywood is a template for that. It's extremely difficult for outwardly pro-life people or even Trump supporters to find work in the entertainment industry. Most studio chieftains and high-profile agents are doctrinaire liberals. They wouldn't hold their positions if they weren't. The current situation in show business is worse than the McCarthyism of the 1950s. Finally, the President of the United States is apparently fine with the totalitarian left. Did you hear Joe Biden specifically condemn demonstrations in front of the homes of the justices? No. Back after this. AMAC is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful news, and a magazine full of uncensored content. They are pushing back against efforts to defund the police, weaken the borders, and corrupt our youth. But they need your help. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Hi, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This is 100.9 FM and the mighty 590. The best of both worlds, Rutherfordton.
Abel Head Pierce was born in Rhode Island on June 29, 1834. At the age of 20, he stowed away on a schooner and ended up in southern Texas. Abel took a job for a cattleman named Grimes. Starting out doing odd jobs, Abel worked his way up to trail boss, taking cattle to New Orleans. Abel Head Pierce was a 6'5" bearded giant of a man who had a habit of wearing spurs with extra large rowels and strutting around town. Someone remarked that he looked like a Shanghai rooster, and he became Shanghai Pierce. Now that's a name any cowboy would be proud of. After serving in the Civil War, Shanghai returned to Texas and started accumulating cattle. Shanghai went to Kansas for a couple of years, supposedly to let things cool down in Texas after lynching a couple of rustlers. He ended up with a 250,000-acre ranch, appropriately called Rancho Grande. Obviously, he was a major factor in the Texas cattle industry, Looking for cattle that would be resistant to ticks that cause problems with Texas cattle going north, and a breed that would produce more meat, Shanghai went to Europe and brought home some Brahma cattle, which he crossed with the Texas Longhorns. By the end of the 19th century, Shanghai Pierce's Rancho Grande approached 1 million acres. When Shanghai felt his life was close to coming to an end, he hired a San Antonio sculptor to make a larger-than-life statue of himself to be placed over his grave. Asked why, Shanghai responded, "I knew that if I didn't do it, no one else would."
We've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesey.
When your taste buds are screaming for delicious, head over to Jesse James Railroad Express. Enjoy fresh-cooked burgers, garden salads, hot dogs, any way you like, French fries. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. They're open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesday and Sunday. That's Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Ruth. Call ahead, 828-447-4644. And Mondays only, hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions, only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Well, it's Hump Day Wednesday, the 29th of June, and it's time to head to the phones and find out just what's been going on around our neighborhood in the past 24 hours or so. And on the phone with me right now is Deputy Clayton to give us an update. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, Jim. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Tell us what's been going on.
Okay, so in front of the detention center, we've got 206 incarcerated. In the last 4 hours, the detention center has processed 21 arrests. Also, the communication center has processed 148 calls for service. As far as our incident reports this morning, we've got Teresa Griffin off of Milesville Road, Elon, North Carolina, reported obtaining property by false pretense. Dollar General from Drugstore Street, Mooresboro, reported misdemeanor larceny. And Dorothy Roberts of 221A Highway, Forest City, reported forgery of an endorsement. We get over to our arrest reports. We've got Roger Ledford of Morgan Street, Forest City, arrested on failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Brendan Shires of Ledford Road, arrested for failure to appear on misdemeanor. Elena Epley of Rome Court, Mooresboro, arrested for failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Jamie Marion of Wheelmouth Street, Shelby, arrested for failure to appear on misdemeanor. Jay Hamrick of Reservation Drive, Spindale, arrested for domestic violence protective order violation. And that's all I've got for you this morning, Jim.
Deputy Clayton, thank you very much for that report, and you be safe out there today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See you now. Bye-bye. And we'll check the 911 Communications Center. They get the calls to see what they're all about. Coming up next.
Capture the moment, share the moment with Carolina West Wireless. Right now, whether you're a new or existing customer, there are great deals for everyone. With our savings stack up, you can stay connected while saving up to $1,050. Save $400 on the new iPhones 13, plus $150 when you switch, and up to $500 on device trade-ins. And with our 5G network, you can capture the moment and share it from wherever you are. Visit a Carolina West Wireless store and start saving today. Carolina West Wireless. Go stay connected. Certain restrictions apply. See representative for details or visit carolinawest.com/terms and conditions.
And next is Jessica on the radio with the 911 report. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
What's on your report?
In the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 439 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 58 for EMS, 148 for the Sheriff's Office, 71 for Forest City, 8 for Lake Lure, 44 for Rutherford, and 44 for Spindale. The fire department in Forest City responded to a structure fire, and SDA responded to a power line fire. And that is all.
Thanks, Jessica. You have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Are you tired of waiting for weeks and months to get an appointment with your primary care provider? Or looking for a primary care provider that spends 30 minutes with you instead of just 10? There's one right here in our area. Brock Family Care, located at 289 Shallow Road in Forest City. Brock Family Care provides primary health care and urgent care services for you and your family, as well as coordinate care between hospitals and specialty care. They don't accept insurance, but they have a unique pricing model that should be pleasing to everyone. Check them out at www.brockfamilycare.com or simply call 828-382-7282. 19 now past 7. Let's head to Shiloh, Danieltown, Oakland community. Ruby Taylor, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Get all those trees taken care of?
Well, yeah, I got it trimmed up.
Yeah, good. All One Tree Service does a good job, don't they?
Yes, I sure do.
Good. What's on the report today?
The fire department had one call, and that was to a power line fire. And on my birthday calendar, I've got Jacob Ezel having birthday, and hope he has a nice day, and the signs are in the press today and tomorrow. And that's all I got.
You have a good day, baby.
Yeah, bye.
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 Well, those of you who are fishermen or fisherwomen like to fish on holidays, fish for free in North Carolina on July 4th. Yes, that's right. July 4th, anglers of any age or residency status will be allowed to fish without a license in North Carolina from 12 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. Free Fishing Day, sponsored by the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, is an annual event that was authorized by the North Carolina General Assembly in 1994. It always falls on July 4th. Free Fishing Day was created to promote the sport of fishing, according to one spokesman. While anyone can fish for free on July 4th, a fishing license is required for people aged 16 and older on all other days of the year. This includes both inland and coastal waters in North Carolina. Purchasing a license online is quick and easy. Other ways to purchase a license are you can call the Wildlife Commission at 888-248-6834. But it's free fishing on July 4th. And here's Gary Wilson up at the Fairfield Mountains Fire District. Gary, good morning.
Good morning, Gary.
I'm doing well. I just gave the report where you can fish for free on July 4th anywhere in North Carolina.
You can do one more?
Fish for free. Yeah, it's Free Fishing Day.
That's good. That's good. Maybe a few people get out and get some done today.
Yeah.
Good day for it. Chances some butter showers this afternoon, but not a big washout, don't sound right. And we're about 70 degrees this morning. Got about 82, 83 yesterday. Going to be about the same day, sounds like. So getting a little more warmer each day toward the 4th. But that's pretty typical. Have around 90 on the 4th. It's not unusual at all. But hopefully we'll get a shower or two long, keep everybody cool off. And got a lot of people in this week. Everybody be careful on the roads out there. And we've been quiet overnight. Us girls putting no fire calls or anything. And we're ready for another day.
Good. It's been a quiet night, and I like that, and I hope it continues.
I hope it does.
Gary, have a great day, and be careful up there.
You too.
All right, bye.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Well, let's see what kind of quiet night Boston had. Here's DeVern Upton to give us all the news. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. Okay, over here in Boston this morning, we have a temperature of 70 degrees. Fire department had no calls, but always remember them. We have one anniversary to report today. Don and Nelda Melton is celebrating an anniversary. We want to wish them a happy day. Stopping at the Bee Supply store on Depot Street and check the items out. If you need any supplies, they have it. And Chase Ministry is giving out food boxes today from 9 to 10:30. And hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thanks. I hope you do too. And thanks for the report, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. And Bob Hodge is up next. He's over in the Hudlow Fire District community, keeping his eye on things for us. And we now welcome him to the morning report. Good morning, Bob Hodge.
Well, good morning, Jim.
How are you?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. You're looking mighty fine this morning.
Well, thank you.
The sun's coming up good and bright, and I see you good over there this morning.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day, I believe.
Yeah, it's not too hot. Not as hot as it was last week, but I think get a little humid this afternoon.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll get a little pop-up thunder shower or something there and cool things off a little bit.
Yeah.
And, well, the fire department's been quiet overnight. Hadn't had any fire calls. Want to say happy birthday to Martha Kelly this morning. And if you're going to get anything done in June, you better get it done. So it's running out here. So.
Oh, we're on a short leg now, aren't we?
That's right. Well, going into July here. But, Tim, that's about it up here this morning. So far, everything's quiet, and maybe it'll stay quiet with us.
All right, you be safe up there, too, and keep us posted, and I will check back in with you the last day of June.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bob Hodge, and he is absolutely right. Tomorrow ends it for us for June, rolling into the downside of the year. 2022 with July 1st rolling in here on Friday. And a busy weekend for a lot of folks, traveling and getting together with family and cookouts and those kind of things. So we encourage you all to plan in your mind right now that you're going to be extra careful because there's a lot of people that aren't. So you be sure you're careful out there. Be back with the next phone call in just a moment.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Now let's see what Sue Price has to report to us from the Cherry Mountain Fire District this morning. Sue, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Jim. Hope you are.
You're up and at 'em already this morning, it looks like.
Looks like we're going to have a nice day. Hope we could get some rain. We hadn't had any.
Really? The day may be your turn. We're going to pop-up shower this afternoon. You may get some of this.
That'd be nice.
I'll try my best to send some over that way.
You do that. All right. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department, so I reckon they've been quiet. And I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries on my church calendar or my personal calendar. And nothing on Fairview's calendar for today. First Brown has a birthday for Amy Lavender, so I hope she's going to have a good day today. And we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. And in my announcements, this week is the Bible school up at Fairview Baptist Church. They're starting at 6 and going to 8 p.m. And I hope they're having a good time. I know I always enjoyed Bible school, working with the kids. So far, I guess that's the only announcement I have, Jim. It's just quiet and calm over here looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one.
Enjoy it today, Sue. I'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. For those of you who are on Broad River Water Authority, good news. The rates are going to remain the same for the new fiscal year. Maria Honeycutt, the director, talked about recommending an increase in water rates, but apparently the board ultimately decided this was not the time to do that. Chairman Mickey Bland said that we can meet our debt obligations at this time without a rate increase. Considering the rising cost of everything, I don't think we should raise the fees. We need to consider the people that we serve, the families and the small businesses. Sound like a man who knows what he's talking about. So the rates will remain the same. Broad River Water Authority folks, for another fiscal year. Congratulations. Let's set up toward Shingle Hollow now and see if we can get Tina on the phone to talk to us. Good morning.
Good morning. What day is it?
This is Hump Day Wednesday.
Hump Day. Well, I'm doing good this morning. It is 70 degrees right now in Shingle Hollow. And I haven't heard from the fire department this morning, and I hope they've been all quiet. And Pleasant Grove has a birthday for Miss Marilyn Probst. And Piney Knob has anniversaries today for Dale and Lisa Brown and Paul and Robin Lehman. So I hope both these couples have wonderful anniversaries, and Miss Marilyn has a wonderful birthday. Vacation Bible School. Mountain Creek wanted me to tell you about their Vacation Bible School. It's July 10th through the 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. And Piney Knob Baptist Church is having their Vacation Bible School. They're having a kickoff on July 9th, which is Saturday, from 12 to 2. And then Bible School starts on Monday the 11th and goes through the 15th and starts at 5:30 and goes to 8. So there's lots of things to do around here. Coming up, Bible School, it seems like.
Yes.
I heard on Channel 13 News last night that one of the casters was talking about Vacation Bible School, and the kids were learning about Jesus, and I felt like jumping up and down because we don't hear that often
They were reporting that on television?
Yes, on Channel 13 News.
Wow, boy. Do they have a new manager up there or something?
Well, and I was eating supper, so I was about to fall out of my chair or get choked one.
Yeah, and they mentioned Jesus. That's amazing. Maybe let it spread through some of the other networks.
I hope so. Because we know how good Jesus is, and we just want to give him all the glory and praise. Well, Jim, that's all I have this morning up here in Shingle Hollow. It's overcast, hopefully we'll get some rain, because Shingle Hollow missed out on those rain showers Sunday evening.
Maybe we'll send some to you.
Yeah, send them on up this way. We need some rain.
All right, Tia, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, God bless you. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Shingle Hollow reporting in. She's also reporting out of Green Hill. The investigation continues into the fire early Monday morning that caused the death of an elderly woman in her 90s in the Green Hill community. An emergency 911 call was placed around 2 a.m. Monday. Firefighters began arriving on the scene of the fire at the end of Big Sky Drive in the Green Hill community. About 14 minutes after the call was placed, there were 5 occupants in the house, including an adult daughter who owned the house and her boyfriend. Other out-of-town family members were visiting at the time. And according to the fire marshal, Frankie Hambrick, smoke detectors alerted the family of the fire, but they were not able to get the older woman out of the house. None of the other occupants were injured. Though no foul play is suspected, an autopsy is being performed on the deceased, and the investigation as to the cause of fire is ongoing. Officials say the 3,213 square foot two-story house was over 50% involved when the firefighters arrived on the scene. The name of the deceased was not released in this report. Right at 33 minutes past 7 o'clock, we're going up to Union Mills in just a moment.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
All right, now 7:34, Hump Day Wednesday. Let's head up toward Union Mills to get a report from Brenda Kelly. Good morning, Brenda Kelly.
Good morning, Jim Bishop. How are you on this wonderful Wednesday morning?
I'm good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Let's see. Next month, there's a special day for a special man, aren't they?
Who would that be? Abraham Lincoln or somebody like that?
No, I think his name's Jim Bishop.
Yes.
I can remember that because you got the same birthday as one of my grandsons.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I thank the Lord He'd let me live to see another one.
that's right. I thank the Lord every day I get up. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm up and about.
Yes.
That's it. And I was listening to Tina comment on the Vacation Bible School thing on Channel 13 News. I saw that, too. I thought that was real neat. Yeah. We need more stuff like that instead of all the negative stuff.
We need to not be ashamed of it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, we could just get into a preaching service right here, right now.
Yeah, don't get me started here this morning.
Well, let's see. I've got 66 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries today. And in ways of announcements, Duke School Community Center will have a buffet breakfast July the 9th, starting at 7 a.m. and going to 10 a.m. And adults is $8, kids 6 to 12, $3, kids 5 and under free, and money goes to help support the community center. And so far, that's the only thing I know of going on. So I did hear on the news, I can't remember what day it was, that there's a shortage of fireworks this year because of they don't have enough help. They didn't have enough help to get them all out.
Oh, really?
So maybe the little dogs and cats and everything that scared them won't have to put up with it too much.
Yeah, they sure are scared of them. My dog is too.
Yeah. My dog Izzy, well, mine and little David's dog Izzy, she don't like loud noises either, but now this little old beagle, he don't pay it no mind. He just laid back.
Sleeps right on through it.
Yep, right on through it. But we hope everybody has a good day, and I guess you better go check on Luther's Sweet Thing and see if everything's all right in Ellenboro.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too, and we'll catch you later.
Thanks. Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
And let's see if Luther's got some news for us. He's over in Ellenboro. Luther, good morning.
Good morning, you two. Having a good time there this morning.
Good,
Coffee's
man.
Good. Biscuits are good. Everything is good.
Life's good in it.
Life is good. I enjoy that. All of it. But it's quiet down there. There was nothing going on this morning. Fire department didn't have anything all day yesterday, all night last night. It's been 3 days in a row now and been quiet. So we're on a roll now. We hope we can keep it going. But nothing else going on down here. Their birthdays or anything. So you have a great day up there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Enjoy your day, Luther. I'll see you next time.
Right, take care now.
Bye. And it's time now for birthdays for this 29th day of June, June 29th. Birthdays and anniversaries can be called in right now. We've cleared the phone lines for you at 287-3356. Todd standing by to take that call. We'll give you a big shout out and make you feel good about yourself. All straight ahead. Birthdays and anniversaries up next.
Cheryl, have you been to the Homeworks Design Center inside Henson Building Materials in Forest City?
Oh, yes. Shana, David, and William are incredible incredible at designing kitchen and bath cabinetry for my new she shed.
Your what?
And they have a full line of windows and doors on display in their 5,000 square foot showroom. And they'll install any ones you pick out for me.
Oh, you're too good to me.
I know. With selling and installing, it's basically one-stop shopping.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush. Brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Hey folks, Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
Well, you can have the breakfast of your choice if you'll head over toward Granny B's. They do breakfast now from 6:30 up until about 11 o'clock, and they do it right. They got omelets over there, and you can have just a piece of toast and jelly. You can have a scrambled egg, bacon, and sausage. Always have delicious coffee there. Order your breakfast and eat it there while you have some friendly hospitality, or take it with you to work. Either way, you'll find the breakfast from Granny B's exceptional. Check it out this morning. Breakfast at Granny B's. Exceptional. Main Street, Spindale, right next door to the Shake Shop.
Happy birthday.
Birthdays today include Steve E. Haynes, 72, over in Rutherfordton. Zoe Rumfeld is 8, lives in Sunshine, and Don and Nelda Melton over in Sandy Mush. 50, is that 50 or 59? Todd? That's 59. 59th anniversary for Don and Nelda Melton. Good couple. I know them and know them a long time. Sandy Mush. Birthdays also include Slim Pickens. He was, remember him, he was born 1919, died in 1983. 1943, little Eva was born, died in 2003. 1944, Gary Busey was born. Some of the events on this day include 1613, Shakespeare's Globe Theater burned down. 1863, very first National Bank opens. 1891, U.S. Forest Service organized. 1940, U.S. passes Alien Registration Act requiring aliens to register. 1963, Beatles' first song, From Me to You, hits charts, UK charts. National Almond Butter Crunch Day, yeah. National Waffle Iron Day, National Hug Holiday, and National Camera Day. So there you go. You're up to date on this date in history now on WCAB in Rutherfordton. Stand by, Keys to Confident Living. I'll tell you how to get ready your pastor for Keys to Confident Living coming up.
Many of you who listen to this program attended church where you periodically have to deal with pastoral relations. You hear all the comments about how good your pastor is or how bad. There are some of you who think he can do nothing wrong, and others who wonder if he can do anything right. People can hinder a very profitable and good ministry through criticism or enable it through encouragement and assistance. For those of you who would like to see your pastor replaced, Richard DeHaan came up with several suggestions for getting rid of your pastor. I have edited the suggestions just slightly. They are as follows. 1. Look the pastor straight in the eye while he's preaching and nod your approval once in a while, and he'll preach himself to death. 2, pat him on the back and brag on his good points, and he'll probably work himself to death. 3, rededicate your life to Christ and ask the preacher for some job to do, and he'll die of heart failure. 4, get the church to unite in prayer for the preacher, and he'll soon become so effective that some larger church will take him off your hands. Seriously, encouragement of leaders is an important part for all of us to play. It can make the organization we are a part of a more enjoyable place to work or worship. Criticism of leaders may be more popular, but encouragement is more beneficial. The Bible says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. What good word can you give to someone today? This is Bill Hostler with today's key to confident living.
This is 100.9 FM and the Mighty 590.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood says those who came upon the semi-trailer full of bodies this week are still struggling to comprehend what happened.
The heat was torrential. There was no air in that vehicle. There was no water. They suffered. They lost consciousness, and then they ended up dying.
The death toll stands at 51 in what is now described as the worst human smuggling operation in U.S. history. The latest testimony surrounding the January 6th attack has former President Trump becoming irate when he was told he could not lead his supporters to the Capitol that day. Then, says former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows' top aide Cassidy Hutchinson, who testified Tuesday, she was told about that limo ride to the Capitol.
The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol."
Engel is the Secret Service agent who was driving that limo. ABC News has learned the Secret Service is preparing to dispute those claims. President Biden says NATO will be stronger with 2 new members.
Calling it a historic application, President Biden said the entry of Finland and Sweden into NATO will make the alliance stronger and will make member countries more secure.
NATO is strong, united, and the steps we're taking during this summit are going to further augment our collective strength.
President Biden meets later on Wednesday with Turkey's President Erdogan. On the eve of the NATO summit, Turkey dropped its objections to Finland and Sweden joining the security alliance, paving the way for the 2 newest members, countries that are on Russia's doorstep. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Madrid.
Ukrainian President Zelensky once again asking for more weapons. As many as 40 people still missing after a Russian missile strike on a central Ukrainian shopping mall. You're listening to ABC News.
Was your business hurt in the years of the pandemic? Have you had a serious decline in revenue since 2019? Was your business partly or fully shut down by the government? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may be eligible to receive up to $26,000 per employee. How? By taking advantage of the Employer Retention Tax Credit, a fully funded tax credit created to help businesses during these difficult times. The experts at ERTC Rebate Masters are ready to help you get the money you're owed. The pre-qualification is absolutely free. Even if you got PPP money, this is more money that may be owed to you. Repayment is not necessary. The money is all yours. Get your free pre-qualification now. Call 844-333-ERTC or 844-333-3782. Take advantage of this tax credit while you can. Call ERTC Rebate Masters today at 844-333-ERTC and claim what is rightfully yours. That's 844-333-ERTC. That's 844-333-ERTC. 844-333-3782.
No more booking in Airbnb just to have a party. The company put a temporary ban on listings of so-called party houses in late 2019 after a series of violent incidents. That ban is now permanent. Violators could have their Airbnb accounts suspended or be booted from the platform. Walmart's facing a new lawsuit from federal officials over alleged scams that may have cost victims millions of dollars. Here's ABC's Daria Albinger.
The Federal Trade Commission alleges Walmart turned a blind eye to scam artists using its MoneyGram money transfer service. The FTC citing witnesses who say the retail giant rarely asked to see IDs of people who were receiving funds through the service. Walmart's called the suit factually flawed and legally baseless and accuses the FTC of bungling a separate investigation into MoneyGram, demanding documents related to that probe through the Freedom of Information Act. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Singer R. Kelly will be in federal court in Brooklyn today to be sentenced after being convicted of leading a criminal enterprise that recruited women and girls for sex. Prosecutors are asking for at least 25 years for him behind bars, but Kelly's lawyers are pointing to trauma that he lived through as a child. They're asking for less than 14 years. And the worst drought in Italy in 70 years is putting rice fields at risk. The premium rice that's used for risotto is typically grown in paddies flooded by the Po River, but lack of rain has left it looking more like a long stretch of sand. This is ABC News.
If you're like me and suffer from toenail fungus, please pay close attention. Nail fungus isn't just a cosmetic problem. It can also be dangerous. But no matter what I tried, it seemed like my fungus would never go away. Then I discovered Crystal Flush, the new FDA-registered at-home treatment. This unique two-step system flushes out fungus at its source and reverses damaged nails. Call now, and for a limited time, you can try Crystal Flush risk-free for 30 days. Call 800-764-9219. That's 800-764-9219.
Sherry Preston, ABC.
We're looking at scattered showers and thunderstorms to develop for this afternoon. Highs will reach the low to mid 80s, and we are going to see temperatures tonight in the upper 60s and the lower 70s. The stationary boundary that's to the south of us will gradually move out. That will allow us to see a lot of cloud cover tomorrow and mostly dry conditions. Highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
And we've warmed up to 71 already here this morning. We started out our temperature reading at 69 at 6 o'clock this morning. Now we're up to 71. It'll keep climbing until it reaches about 84 with mostly cloudy skies today with some possible scattered showers this afternoon. And that chance of precip about 30% today. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows around 68, about where we started this morning. And then Thursday, 88, and some clouds gathering Thursday night with a slight chance of showers. Looks like Saturday for us is going to be pretty nice. Partly cloudy, highs around 89, no rain in that forecast for Saturday or Saturday night. So it's a pretty good weekend for us coming up here in the foothills. And 6 minutes after 8 o'clock, it's time for us to check in on Wayne. Over to Wayne's Lunchbox. Wayne, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing well. A couple of questions I want to ask you before we get started. How's the ball team doing?
Man, the ball team won the district. They played, we went up there on Monday. I talked to you guys about that. And I'll tell you that they played 4 games. They was undefeated in the district tournament. They won 23-3. They won 18-3. Then they won 20-0.
Wow.
And then they won the final game 13-4.
Wow.
Just a great group of kids, 7, 8-year-old Rutherford Little League All-Stars, and they are going to the state. It's just unbelievable. They did it last year, and like I told you again, I think the 9 and 10 or 11 and 12, one of the two is already going to the state. So got 2 teams headed to the state this year, and just real proud of those boys and the coaches, and they've done an outstanding job, and looking forward to going up to the state. They'll start up there July. It's the week of the 4th, that weekend. I think it's July the 8th through the 14th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it got a few more teams this year, so the tournament's going to be a little longer than it was last year. And hopefully this team, if they play like they played this weekend, I think they got a good a shot as anybody in the state to win this thing. They got a good infield. They hit good. And again, they got a good coaching staff. So, and then they got a lot of support from everybody in the county, especially the parents and all. So we're doing all we can. I had a Butterfinger cake up yesterday for sale, and it sold. We actually had a lady in her company give us $200 for the cake.
Wow, that's great.
I was going to run the cake all week, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stop it and start another one this afternoon. So just be looking. If you have Facebook, look on there. There's several different things that people's got silent auctions. They got a GoFundMe page. We're going to be having a bake sale throughout the week at the restaurant, and we have donation buckets there too. So we're just trying to do everything we can to get these kids to the state. It's pretty expensive to take a kid to Raleigh for a week.
Sure.
I think the hotel rooms are about $1,200 a piece.
Wow.
To stay that long. So they've got to raise a good bit of money. And, everybody, sometimes that can put hardship on people. So, but you want to try to do it for these kids. It's for them and the experiences that they get to share up there and have. And so we're going to do all we can to raise as much money as we can in a short period of time, because we're going to be closed next week. So we can only, we've got today, Thursday, and Friday to raise as much money as we can at the restaurant. And then, just like I said, there's several different places you can go. They got a silent auction going on Facebook. It's going to have some items donated that people can bid on. Several people's got cakes that they're bidding or selling, just like I am. So a lot of things going on. Just be a lookout for that. If you see a bucket, throw $1 in there. It doesn't have to be $200 like some people have spent, or $50 or whatever.
Sure, a little bit helps.
It could be 5 or 10. Even though $5 only buys a gallon of gas now, but that's still a gallon of gas. So just any donation, any change, anything you got that will help these kids, so we can get them up there and let them experience it, especially at such a young age. It's just a good experience for them to go see. So proud of them. and looking forward to it.
What an exciting time that'll be for them and the coaches and parents.
Oh, and the coaches, and don't get you wrong, this the parents, the grandparents. I mean, everybody. I mean, it was just a good weekend up there. I mean, that last game, even though it was 13-4, there for a while it was like 3-2. It was a good fought game. McDowell played good their second time playing us, and we ended up having one big inning there, and we scored, I think, 8 or 9 runs, and that sort of blew it open. But yeah, it's exciting for me. It's exciting. I just love to see it. I mean, these kids get so excited, and then of course, all of us get excited too watching them. So it's just a good time of year for that. It's just a good experience. Just good memories is the big thing.
Rutherford County is just a baseball county, aren't we?
Well, we've had several state championships.
Yeah.
I know East won some that time, and I mean we've got. On both, I've seen some of the other games from the 9 and 10-year-olds, and there are some really good baseball players on these two teams. I mean, I know they're young and all, but just watching them and some of the things that they do now at such a young age, I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these kids can do once they get on up into middle school and grammar, going into high school, and let just experience and develop their skills. Because there's a lot of talent in the county right now in baseball.
You answered the second question I was going to ask you. You'll be closed next week. All next week we'll be out.
Yeah, we've got some. I'm doing some catering this weekend, and then I have 1 or 2 caterings next week. But we always close down the week of the 4th, which it sort of works out good for us because that tournament starts on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll be closed next week just to take a little time off, let our staff go because they've been going pretty wide open with caterings and just working at the restaurant. So we're going to let them take a week off, too. And we might be closed a day or two the next week. Just depends on how them boys play in the state because I'm not going to miss that game. Definitely want to see that. But, so we're going to close down next week. Like I said, we got a few caterings going on, and that's always a good thing. So you don't let people forget about that. We got all kind like today. We got some people just picking up macaroni and cheese, baked beans, and coleslaw. So, it doesn't have to be a full meal. It could just be barbecue. It could just be the meat. It could just be the vegetables. And it don't have to be for, 40 or 50 people. It could be for 10 or 15. If you want to come by and pick up a pint or quart or something like that, we can take care of that. And then, of course, today is one of your favorites, Chicken Pie Day on Wednesday.
Chicken Pie Day, yes.
Chicken pie, you can't go wrong with that. Still running the cold plates. That's, during the summertime, we're going to try our best to run that, every day that we're open. Because right now with the heat and the humidity, like it was good to see some of that rain the other day. I don't think everybody got it, but I know we had a good rain over here at my house. But the cold plate's always good. You got the homemade chicken salad, tuna salad, and pimento cheese. And then with that scoop of that, then you can get 2 vegetables. And again, it doesn't have to be cold. If you want to get some green beans and fried okra, you can do so. But we've got homemade pasta salad, the cucumber, tomato, onion salad, potato salad, coleslaw, things like that you can try. So it's got a lot of things, and always get it on the croissant. I know you got that one time.
Yes.
We get a lot of people that, get the croissant, and you don't have to do it with chicken salad or tuna salad. You can throw you some ham and cheese on that baby, or, turkey and cheese, or you can make you a club on the croissant. Doesn't matter. So we got different things, and I think that's the biggest thing that helps us a lot. We've got a big variety menu. So if you don't want something hot, you can get something cold, or you can get something of both.
I like your variety, Wayne. I appreciate what you're doing for the boys, too, and the team, and supporting them. And thanks for letting us be a part of your day-by-day routine. And have a great week off next week, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
Sounds good. I hope when next time we talk, we can talk about winning the state championship.
I hope that's the case. I believe it will be.
I hope so.
See you, Wayne.
All right, Jim. Have a good one. Thank you.
Wayne Rollins, that was Wayne's Lunchbox in Spindale, always serving good food. Go see him today. They won't be there next week.
Capture the moment, share the moment with Carolina West Wireless. Right now, whether you're a new or existing customer, there are great deals for everyone. With our savings stack up, you can stay connected while saving up to $1,050. Save $400 on the new iPhone 13, plus $150 when you switch, and up to $500 on device trade-ins. And with our 5G network, you can capture the moment and share it from wherever you are. Visit a Carolina West Wireless store and start saving today. Carolina West Wireless. Go stay connected. Certain restrictions apply. See representative for details or visit carolinawest.com/terms and conditions.
Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continuing to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
Smith Drugs of Forest City is offering the flu vaccines. You can walk in Monday through Friday or by appointment only on Saturdays. The Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers, if you need assistance registering your recall devices, you can call the Home Medical Department at 245-4591. And Smith Drugs has a large selection of in-stock mastectomy bras, now half price. So come by our home equipment department on West Main Street in Forest City. Smith Drugs, 245-4591. Sign-up forms are now available for the Meet Me at the Fountain 5K race to be held on Saturday, July the 23rd. Go to smithsdrugsfc.com.
Well, the Rutherford Police Department had a request out seeking assistance in locating Hoyt Roger Anders. They found him safe. He's okay. So he's back now. So I just want to pass that on to you. So always good to get those kind of reports when they find these folks safe and sound. Some of the July 4th events scheduled already we know about. According to the Daily Courier, the Forest City Owls will be having fireworks after the game at 7 o'clock on Saturday. This will be the only fireworks display in town. Then July 3rd, the Chamber of Hickory Nut Gorge is putting on a fireworks display in Lake Lure. Fireworks will begin directly after sunset, usually around 9 p.m. And then July 4th, Rumbling Ball Resort will be doing 4th of July activities all weekend, including Fireworks Sunday. They can be seen around Lake Lure, but you have to be a resident there to enjoy those kind of things. But you can see that from some distance, I believe. Everybody loves fireworks. Story I mentioned earlier, no foul play suspected in the Monday's fatal house fire up in Green Hill. The investigation continues. That emergency call went out about 2 a.m. Monday. Firefighters began arriving on the scene of the fire in the Big Sky Drive in the Green Hill community. About 14 minutes after the call was placed, there were 5 occupants of the house, including an adult daughter who owned the home and her boyfriend. Other out-of-town family members were visiting at the time. According to the fire marshal, Frankie Hambrick, smoke detectors alerted the family of the fire, but they were not able to get the older woman out of the house. None of the other occupants were injured. Though no foul play is suspected, an autopsy is being performed on the deceased, and the investigation as to the cause of the fire is ongoing. Broad River Water Authority rates will remain the same for the new fiscal year. Chairman Mickey Bland said we can meet our debt obligations at this time without a rate increase. Considering the rising cost of everything, I don't think we should raise the fees. We need to consider the people that we serve, the families and the small businesses. So the board agreed the rates would continue as they are and not be raised. Bland said they did not count on the nation experiencing inflation at the level that's ongoing now. Maria Honeycutt, who is the board chair over there, said she's runs the place. She said her recommendation remains calling for a 3% increase in the water rates. She said, I still feel like it's a smart thing to do, but of course I'm happy to do what the board wishes. Board member Rob Bowl asked Honeycutt about budget projections in terms of amount of water sold and revenue. Are budget projections this year as accurate as previous years? Bowl asked. He then suggested that for the previous 5 years, projections in the budget have not been accurate and have missed, consistently underestimating revenue. I agree with the chairman. This is not the time to raise the rates, Bowl said. So, Broad River Water Authority folks, no rate increase this year. All right, 19 minutes past 8 o'clock, the Sheriff's Report with Deputy Clayton coming up here in just a moment.
Did you know that approximately 34% of women worldwide are affected by urinary incontinence? But there is good news. You don't have to suffer anymore. Brock Family Care in Forest City is excited to introduce a breakthrough treatment for urinary incontinence called BTL Emsella. All you have to do is sit on the Emsella chair for 30 minutes fully clothed 2 times a week for 3 weeks, and your quality of life will significantly improve. Sound interesting? Then call 828-382-7282 to learn more about this amazing treatment or visit our website at www.brockfamilycare.com.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates, wanting to let you know that we have moved. Our new office is located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City. Come see us for auto, home, or your commercial insurance needs. Also come see me, Dwayne Hunt, for your Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or prescription drug plans. See us at Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City, or call 828-245-5301.
Hey, excuse me, you can do your belly a real favor this morning if you're hungry for breakfast. If you go down to Scrappy's Food and Fuel, 221 at Chase High Road there, just below Floyd's Creek Baptist Church, and enjoy a great breakfast. They've got those big cat head biscuits. They start serving breakfast at 6:30. They're doing that right now. You can order what you like on the breakfast menu and really have a good time with some good fresh coffee. They just do food right there at Scrappy's Food and Fuel. A full breakfast served Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. until 2, Saturdays from 7 a.m. until 2. And those hot handmade biscuits are ready for you right now. And the store's open until 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday for your favorite snacks and gasoline fill-ups. And now the store is opening on Sundays. The cafe is not open on Sundays, but they are there for you right now. Scrappy's Food and Fuel, 221 and Chase High Road. There at the corner intersection and just below the Floyd Creek Baptist Church. Now, Deputy Clayton was with us earlier. He gave us a report from the Sheriff's Department. We recorded it for broadcast at this time. Deputy Clayton?
Okay, so for the detention center, we've got 206 incarcerated. 4 hours, the detention center has processed 21 arrests. Also, the communication center has processed 148 calls for service. As far as our incident reports this morning, we've got Teresa Griffin off of Milesville Road, Elon, North Carolina, reported obtaining property by false pretense. Dollar General from Drugstore Street, Mooresboro, reported misdemeanor larceny. And Dorothy Roberts of 221A Highway, Forest City, reported forgery of an endorsement. We'll get over to our arrest reports. We've got Roger Ledford of Morgan Street, Forest City, arrested on failure to appear on a misdemeanor. Brandon Shires of Ledford Road, arrested for failure to appear on misdemeanor. Elena Epley of Rome Court, Mooresboro, arrested for failing to appear on a misdemeanor. Jamie Marion of Wilmouth Street, Shelby, arrested for failure to appear on misdemeanor. Jay Hamrick of Reservation Drive, Spindale, arrested for domestic violence protective order violation. And that's all I've got for you this morning, Jim.
That's Deputy Clayton reporting from the Sheriff's Department this morning. We have Braves baseball tonight. Braves and the Phillies, 5:50 airtime. We'll join that game, the pregame, and have the game. They play with the Phillies again tonight and tomorrow night. Then they take on a series with the Reds starting July 1st. So continue to follow us throughout the season with the Atlanta Braves, America's team, right here on the Regionals radio station, WCAB.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. The ACC is moving ahead with a plan to change its football scheduling model, going with a 3-5-5 plan that will go into effect for the 2023 season. All 14 of the ACC's football members will have 3 permanent scheduling partners and play those schools every year. Then they'll face the other 10 schools once every 2 years, 5 1 year, and 5 the next. On the pro side of things, Baker Mayfield appears ready to move on to the next chapter of his career, and that would be away from Cleveland. He told reporters during his youth football camp yesterday in Norman, Oklahoma.
I think it's been pretty obvious the mutual decision on both sides is to move on. There's no resentment towards the city of Cleveland by any means.
The Browns have been unable to find a suitor to pick up the former number 1 quarterback. Is due to make almost $19 million in guaranteed money in 2022. The Browns have discussed a trade with the Panthers, but they have yet to make a deal. ESPN reports that Cleveland, meanwhile, has signed Jacoby Brissett to be the starter if Deshaun Watson is suspended. The NFL, meanwhile, insists on an indefinite suspension for Watson, while his legal team argue there's no basis for that punishment. As both sides presented their case in Delaware on Tuesday, the 3-time Pro Bowl QB has agreed to settle most of the civil lawsuits for sexual misconduct against him, but he's still facing a significant penalty. At Wimbledon, Serena Williams was a one-and-done as she lost her first singles match in nearly a year in a third-set tiebreak to 115th-ranked Harmony Tan of France. The 23-time Grand Slam champion was 2 points away from victory, but she could not finish the job.
Last couple points, I really started to feel it. I didn't practice for a 3-hour match, so I guess that's where I went wrong.
The 40-year-old American had not competed in a singles match since she was injured on the first set of her first-round match at the All-England Club 1 year ago today. This is NCN Sports.
If the power goes out for your business, are you prepared with a backup? Without electricity, security systems go down, refrigerated items spoil, and customers are turned away. In other words, your business loses money. Control your power. Control your business with a Generac automatic standby generator. Alternative Power is North Carolina's Generac generator experts. In fact, all Alternative Power does is provide backup power. Financing options are available. See more at alternativepower.com.
More at alternativepower.com.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of innovative leaders. If you want to make a difference and believe in feeding the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, whether from a rural background or not. Our degrees include hundreds of internships and networking. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities. Learn more at cows.ncsu.edu/AGI.
A person with direct knowledge has told the Associated Press the LA Lakers guard Russell Westbrook is exercising his option to play for $47.1 million next season. The past NBA MVP and one of the league's top 75 all-time players will turn 34 next season, which will be his 15th in the league. 4 months after suggesting those who defected to the Saudi-backed Live Golf Series were sellouts, Brooke Koepka yesterday explained that he simply changed his mind. He signed with Live Golf last week for its first event on American soil, which starts tomorrow at Pumpkin Ridge near Portland, Oregon. Koepka cited a knee injury that has taken a toll on his body and the desire to spend more time with his family as factors in his decision. He did not mention the multi-million-dollar signing bonuses Live Golf has given to players or the $20 million purses for its 54-hole no-cut events. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
We're looking at scattered showers and thunderstorms to develop for this afternoon. Highs will reach the low to mid-80s, and we are going to see temperatures tonight in the upper 60s and the lower 70s. The stationary boundary that's to the south of us will gradually move out. That will allow us to see a lot of cloud cover tomorrow and mostly dry conditions. Highs in the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Right now we're cloudy and 71 degrees, warming up nicely today. We'll have some sun after a while. Warming up about 84 with a light wind and a 30% chance of precip sometime later, maybe noonish today. Right now it's 8:30. This is WCAB, serving the foothills of the Carolinas with 100.9 FM, 590 AM. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. And with the program this morning is Josh Farmer.
Good morning, Rutherford County. It's great to be with you. I'm Josh Farmer with the Word of Faith Fellowship with our program that we have on WCAB 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30. It's my privilege to to have the opportunity to share the Word of God with you this morning. I want to share something with you that comes from where God has been dealing with my heart and convicting my heart recently, but also through the years. And it, in essence, it's you can trust God with your life. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be worried. When you are walking with Jesus, when you have a relationship with Jesus, we can trust him. And so, for example, there's been many times in my life, and especially in the past, where circumstances would come and I would get anxious. I would get worried. It's like I'd be on an emotional roller coaster. Briefly, a little bit of background. I'm an attorney. I practice law with Farmer and Morris Law, with my wife, my brother, Mark Morris, and several others, but also I run a trucking company, FreightWorks. And so that's something I've been doing for the last 10 years. And the company's gone through a number of things over the years as it's grown. It's gone through a number of different economic cycles. It's gone through a number of circumstances and challenges. And there have been many times in my life when circumstances would occur, rather than looking to Jesus, rather than going to Jesus with my trust and expectant hope in him, I looked at the circumstance. I looked at what was in front of me, and it moved me. And so God has been convicting my heart about that. It's something that my wife has come to me a number of times and said, why are you moved by this? If you're walking with Jesus, if you're hearing the voice of God, if you're walking in a relationship with him, you're not going to be moved. You know, the scriptures say Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So why should we be different? Why should we be moved? And so one of the scriptures that God put on my heart was Matthew 6, starting in verse 24. And it says, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will stand by and be devoted to one and despise and be against the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, and the Amplified Bible goes on to describe mammon further as deceitful riches, money, possessions, or whatever is trusted in. And that last phrase, whatever is trusted in, was key to me. It was a key part of what God was pointing out to me, and it's something that he has had me examining my heart, and I ask you to examine your heart. What do we trust in? What do we trust in every day? Do we trust in our bank account? Some may have bank accounts that in the world's eyes let them to be very comfortable. Does that cause them to trust in their bank account versus trusting in their relationship with Jesus? You know, the Bible talks about laying up treasures in heaven, the eternal things, focusing on the eternal things rather than the earthly things. And so what is it that we trust in every day? It goes on further in verse 25. Therefore I tell you, stop being perpetually uneasy, anxious, and worried. And so one of the things, you know, as I was going through this, it became very clear to me, what's the opposite of trusting? What's the opposite of trusting in God? It's anxiety and fear. And if we feel anxious, we're not trusting in God. And we're not walking with Jesus, because that's not an emotion that the Spirit of God puts on the inside of us. I mean, the Bible says God's not given us a spirit of fear. So further back in 25, therefore I tell you, stop being perpetually uneasy, anxious, and worried about your life, what you shall eat, or what you shall drink, or about your body, and what you shall put on. Is not life greater in quality than food, and the body far above more excellent than clothing? And Jesus is telling us we don't have to be worried when we are walking with him. When we are the sons of God, he provides for those who walk with him. Verse 26, look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father keeps feeding them. Are you not worth much more than they? And who of you, by worrying and being anxious, can add 1 cubit of measure to his stature or the span of his life? And what the words tell us there is, what are we accomplishing by being anxious? That anxiety is not going to add to our life. The anxiety is not going to provide for us. It's just torment. The anxiety comes from Satan. It comes from the devil to torment us, to get our eyes off of Jesus where it should be, and to focus on what Satan wants us to focus on. Verse 28, and why should you be anxious about clothes? Consider the lilies of the field, and learn thoroughly how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon, in all of his magnificence, his excellence, dignity, and grace, was not arrayed like one of these. Verse 30, but if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and green, and tomorrow is tossed in the furnace, how will he not much more surely clothe you, O you of little faith? And then this is in further key. Therefore, do not worry. In verse 31, therefore, do not worry and be anxious, saying, what are we going to have to drink? And what are we going to have to eat? And what are we going to have to wear? For the heathen wish for and crave and diligently seek all these things. And your heavenly Father knows well that you need them all. But verse 33, but seek, aim at, and strive after, first of all, his kingdom and his righteousness, his way of doing and being right, and then all these things taken together will be given to you besides. So do not worry or be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have worries and anxieties of its own. Sufficient for each day is its own trouble. But back to do not worry or be anxious about tomorrow. And so that's what this scripture and others, out of these places, God was speaking to me, because as I mentioned, there were times in my life, and many times it would be related to business, things going on in business, that I would be moved and I would be anxious. Back early on when we were starting the company, and we would have, there would be times we would have a large bill coming up, or we'd have payroll due, and I didn't know where the money was going to come from, and I would be anxious. Rather than settling, going to Jesus, trusting Jesus, crying out to Jesus, saying, Jesus, what would you have me to do? I know you're my provider. I know you're going to provide. What do you want me to do, Jesus? And so as I began to let this work be done in my heart, and many times I don't feel that way anymore. Now, that's not to say I have opportunity for the devil to come, but God has changed my heart in many ways in this area, and this last week would be a good example. I had another opportunity for testing, and it relates to the trucking company. I got a call about noon on Wednesday that one of our drivers was in an incredibly serious accident, and it was an accident on interstate, and another vehicle was involved, and our driver mentioned quickly, I think the other person's died. Well, our company's never been involved in an accident that involved a death. Obviously, I mean, that is an incredibly tragic circumstance, and it's also a very serious circumstance. And I mean, my heart is crying out for the family of this other person involved. For that matter, my heart was crying out for our driver that was involved. I didn't know whether he was injured or not. And then the devil wants to come and say, your driver just killed somebody. They're going to sue you. They're going to sue you for millions of dollars. They're going to shut down your company. That's what the devil wants to come and say. But I'll tell you, at every point on Wednesday when this was coming up, I wasn't moved. I had peace in my heart. I had peace in my heart the entire time. I sent several of my safety people up to the site of the accident. It was near the Virginia border on I-77. I went myself. It took me nearly 3 hours to get there. And ultimately, I won't go into all the details, but the ultimate result was our driver thankfully was fine. The police officers indicated that our driver did everything that they possibly could have done and did not contribute to the accident. And again, tragically, very tragically, the other person involved lost their life. But the test for me through this entire part was I going to be anxious? Was I going to give to fear? Or was I going to trust in Jesus? And the Bible is full of many examples. I mean, why do we have the Bible? I mean, the Spirit of God inspired those to write these books. The Spirit of God wrote these books to give us examples in our lives of other people. Many times it's examples of the attributes of God that He wants us to see and to have, and other times it's examples of where people have erred and gone astray, and He wants us to see that we're not to go down that path. But there are many examples in the Bible of people trusting in God despite overwhelming circumstances. And so 2 Kings 6 is another example. And we're going to start in verse 8. It's talking about the prophet Elisha. And Elisha was a prophet of God it was a prophet of God to Israel. And starting in verse 8, when the king of Syria was warring against Israel after counseling with his servants, he said, in such and such a place shall be my camp. And then the man of God, meaning Elisha, sent to the king of Israel, saying, beware that you not pass such a place, for the Syrians are coming there. And the Spirit of God told Elisha exactly what the king of Syria was going to do. Then the king of Israel sent to the place which Elisha told and warned him, and thus he protected and saved himself there repeatedly. And therefore the mind of the king of Syria was greatly troubled by this thing. And he called his servants and said, will you show me who of us is for the king of Israel? Because the king of Syria learned that his plans had been exposed by the Spirit of God. He didn't know it was by the Spirit of God speaking to Elisha. He thought there was a spy in his camp. And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet, who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedchamber. And he said, the king of Syria said, go and see where he is, that I may send and seize him. And it was told him, he's in Dothan. And so the Syrian king sent there horses, chariots, and a great army. And they came by night and surrounded the city. And when the servant of the man of God rose early and went out, behold, an army, the Syrian army with horses and chariots, was around the city, because they were there to seize Elisha. And Elisha's servant said to him, alas, my master, what shall we do? And at this point, Elisha has a choice. He is faced with an enemy army that is surrounding the city that he is in with the sole purpose to come there and seize him and ultimately kill him. And so his servant says, alas, Elisha, what are we going to do? And Elisha answered, fear not. Elisha trusted in God. And Elisha knew that God would protect them and that God would provide. Elisha answered, fear not. This is verse 16. For those with us are more than those with them. And you look around in the natural, who was with him? Elisha didn't have an army with him. So who was he talking about? Those with us are more than with the Syrian army. And then Elisha prayed, Lord, I pray you, open his eyes, the eyes of his servant, that he may see. And the Lord opened the young man's eyes, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha, which were the angels of God that God sent to protect Elisha. And God opened that young man's eyes to see, because Elisha knew that he could trust God and that God would provide the deliverance from that situation. And when the Syrians came down to him, Elisha prayed to the Lord, smite this people, the Syrians, with blindness, I pray you. And the Lord smote them with blindness, as Elisha asked. And Elisha said to the Syrians, this is not the way or the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. And he led them to Samaria, which is another another country, another region. And when they had come to Samaria, Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men, they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they said, behold, they were in Samaria. God delivered Elisha and his servant out of their hand, and miraculously. But this is an example for us where God is pointing out to us, Elisha trusted God. Elisha was not anxious. He was not fearful. He didn't despair. He didn't give to depression. Many a times the way this anxiety manifests in people, it causes them to become depressed. And then what's the answer to that in the world? Well, we can medicate you, or we can do all these other things. No, God's got an answer for anxiety and depression, and it is trusting Him. And He will provide that peace in your heart, no matter what the circumstances are. Further, another example, also in 2 Kings, back just a couple of chapters, is about the Shunammite woman. And this is a long account, and I'll try to go through it quickly. So 2 Kings 4, starting in verse 8. And so this is also Elisha. He went to Shunem, where a rich and influential woman lived who insisted on eating a meal. And afterward, when he passed by, he would stop there for a meal. And she said to her husband, behold, I perceive this is a holy man of God, Elisha, who passes by continually. Let us make a chamber on their housetop. And they made a place for them so that when Elisha would come by frequently, he would have a place to stop and rest. And so on down in verse 12, Elisha says to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite woman. And when he called her, she stood before him, and he said to Gehazi, say to her, you have been most painstakingly and reverently concerned for us. What's to be done for you? Would you like us to speak to the king or the ruler of the army? And then then she replies, I dwell among my people. They are sufficient. And later, Elisha then says to Gehazi, what's to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, she has no child. Her husband is old. And he said, call her. And Gehazi called her. And Elisha says, at this season, when the time comes around, and he's speaking the word of the Lord to the Shunammite woman, at this season, when the time comes around, you shall embrace a son. And she said, no, my Lord, you're a man of God. Do not lie to your handmaid. But the woman did conceive and bore a son. God gave her that son. When the child had grown, he went out one day to his father with the reapers, and he said to his father, my head, my head. The man said to his servant, carry him to his mother. In verse 20, and when he was brought to his mother, he sat on his knees till noon, and then he died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of God and shut the door, and she called to her husband and said, send me one of the servants, one of the donkeys, that I may go quickly to the man of God and come back again. And at that point, she had a choice. She could have fallen apart because her son had just died. She could have despaired. She could have gotten angry at God because, God, this is the son you gave me, and my child's died. But immediately what she did is she said, I'm going to go see the man of God, because she had a trust in her heart that God had given her this son and that God would provide. And so, and that was verse 22. She's going to go quickly to the man of God and come back again. And he said, why go to him today? It's neither the new moon or the Sabbath. And she said, it will be all right. That's a key right there. She didn't know in the natural, but she knew in the spirit. She had a settledness and a peace in her heart. It's going to be all right. And then she saddled the donkey and said to her servant, ride fast and do not slacken your pace for me, unless I tell you. So she set out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. This is Elisha. When the man of God saw her afar off, he said to Gehazi, behold, is the Shunammite woman. Run to meet her. Say, is it well with you? Well with your husband, with the child? And she answered, it is well. And she just had her son die, but yet she had a settledness and a peace in her heart that when the man of the Lord sent his servant to her and asked, how are you doing? She said, it is well. Because again, she knew in her heart, she had that faith and trust that she knew that God was going to take care of the situation. In verse 27, she came to the mountain to the man of God. She clung to his feet, and Gehazi came to her and thrust her away. But the man of God said, let her alone, for her soul is bitter and vexed with her, and the Lord has hid it from me and has not told me. Then she said, did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, do not deceive me? And then he said to Gehazi, gird up your loins and take my staff in your hand and go lay my staff on the child. And if you meet any man, don't salute him. If he salutes you, don't answer him. And the mother of the child said, As the Lord lives, as my soul lives, I will not leave you. And Elisha arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before her and laid on the staff on the child's face, and the boy neither spoke nor heard. So he went back to meet Elisha and told him, The child's not awakened. And when Elisha arrived in the house, the child was dead, and he laid upon his bed. The child was on his bed. And so Elisha went in and shut the door on the two of them, and prayed to the Lord. And he went and laid on the child and put his mouth on his mouth, eyes on his eyes, his hands on his hands. And as he stretched himself on him and embraced him, the child's flesh became warm. And he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up again and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times and then opened his eyes. And then Elisha called Gehazi. He said, Call the Shunammite woman. And he called her. And when he came, he said, Take up your son. And she came and fell at his feet, bowing herself to the ground. But God answered the cry of the Shunammite woman there. And it all points through that. She had peace in her heart, and she wasn't anxious. And that's an example and a testimony to me of her not being moved. So let's go to Exodus 14. So this is the Exodus of the children of Israel from Egypt. They had been in Egypt in bondage and in slavery for 400 years. God raised up his servant Moses to lead his people out of Egypt and into the promised land. And so Moses, as we all know the story, Moses went to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, many times, let my people go, and Pharaoh resisted over and over again, and then God sent many plagues upon Egypt as to curse and destroy the land, first of all, to show the mighty hand of God, to show that he was God, also for judgment upon the king of Egypt and on the Egyptian people who had enslaved the Israelite people. And so eventually the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, said, You may go. And so Moses and the children of Israel go through the desert toward the Red Sea, and the Red Sea was the dividing line between Egypt, the place of their captivity, on the way toward the promised land, Canaan, where God wanted to build the nation of Israel. And so, to build the Hebrew nation. And so they come up to the Red Sea, which is a barrier, a huge barrier. In Exodus 14, verse 1, And the Lord said to Moses, Tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the Red Sea, before Baal-zephon, and you shall encamp opposite by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the Israelites, They are entangled in the land, and the wilderness has shut them in. So God told Moses what was going to happen. And I will harden and make stubborn Pharaoh's heart, and he will now come after and pursue the Israelites. And I will gain honor and glory over Pharaoh and all of his host, and the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord. And they did so. And so God hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he could provide a miraculous escape for the children of Israel, and so that he would gain honor and glory over Pharaoh and all of his host. And it was told, verse 5, the king of Egypt, that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was changed toward the people. And they said, What is this we've done? We've let Israel go from serving us. And it was hundreds of thousands of people in the Israelite camp, and there were hundreds of thousands of slaves of the Egyptians. And he made ready his chariots, this is Pharaoh, and took his army, and took 600 chosen chariots, and all the other chariots of Egypt with officers over all of them. And the Lord made hard and strong the heart of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And he pursued the Israelites, for they left proudly and defiantly. And the Egyptians pursued them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh. All the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and the horsemen in his army, and overtook them. So they caught up with the children of Israel, who were primarily on foot, and the Egyptians were in chariots with horses, and encamped at the Red Sea by Pi-hahiroth in front of Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the Israelites looked up, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them. And the Israelites were exceedingly frightened and cried out to the Lord. Now the Israelites, the people, took thought. They saw the Egyptian army on one hand, and they saw the Red Sea on the other, and they were afraid. But yet, Moses was not afraid. Moses had the voice of God. And they said to Moses, it's because there are no graves in Egypt that you've taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you treated us this way and brought us out of Egypt? Did we not tell you in Egypt, let us alone and let us serve the Egyptians, for it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than die in the wilderness? And realize the children of Israel had just seen the 10 miraculous plagues that God had sent on the Egyptians, and yet he had protected the Israelites from them. And then they immediately, when they saw the Egyptian army, rather than trust that the same God could perform the same miraculous deliverance for them then as he had done to get them out of Pharaoh's hands to begin with, rather than do that, they were afraid. And Moses told the people, verse 13, fear not. Stand still, firm, confident, and undismayed, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians you have seen today, you will never see again. And the Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace and remain at rest. And I think that is key. When we're in a battle, with things going around us, when the devil wants to come and makes us anxious and afraid, if we will go to God, the voice of God, God will come to us. If we're walking with Jesus, if we have a relationship with Jesus, the word of the Lord will come to us to provide comfort. And he's telling them here, he said, the Lord will fight for you, and you will hold your peace and remain at rest. And the Lord told Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the people of Israel to go forward toward the Red Sea and lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and the Israelites shall go through on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I also, behold, I will harden and make stubborn and strong the hearts of the Egyptians, and they'll go into the sea, the divided sea, after them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and his host, his chariots and horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know and realize that I'm the Lord, when I have gained honor and glory over Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen. And the angel of God, who went before the host of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. And briefly, the angel of God, God sent an angel, and during the day it was in the form of a pillar of a cloud, and at night it was in the form of a pillar of fire. And he led the children of Israel as they are leaving Egypt by this pillar of cloud, or this pillar of fire. And in this case, he had the pillar of cloud go behind them to stand between the Israelites and the Egyptian army. And verse 20, coming between the host of Egypt and the host of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to the Egyptians, but it gave light by night to the Israelites. And the one host did not come near the other all night. And then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the Israelites went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters being a wall to them on their right hand and their left. And the Egyptians then pursued and went in after them in the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and horsemen. And in the morning watch, the Lord through the pillar of fire and cloud looked down on the host of the Egyptians, and discomfited them. And he bound, clogged, took off their chariot wheels, making them drive heavily. And the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians. And then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots and their horsemen. And so Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength and normal flow. And when the morning appeared, the Egyptians fled into it, being met by it. And the Lord overthrew the Egyptians and shook them off into the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and the entire host of Pharaoh that pursued them. And not one of them remained, but the Israelites walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters being a wall to them on the left and right. And thus the Lord, verse 30, saved Israel that day from the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore, and Israel saw the great work which the Lord did against the Egyptians, and the people reverently feared and trusted and relied on and remained steadfast to the Lord and his servant Moses. These are a number of examples, and I have other examples, but there are a number of examples of the Bible showing how we can trust Jesus. And I want to encourage you, as we walk with Jesus, Jesus will make a way in whatever circumstance we're in, we can trust him. I've enjoyed being with you today. This is the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. You can hear us 3 times a week on AM 590 WCAB, 8:30 to 9 a.m. You can also go to our website, wordoffaithfellowship.org. Thank you.
The music's on.